the most painful tattoo or piercing? Or what is your most painful tattoo or piercing?
My most painful. Ours.
I think in general.
Well, we could probably cover both.
Yeah.
Really. Mine, the one I would never want to redo. Probably either the back of my calf. Both of my calves were fucking torturous. And they were done by two different people. So just the calf, back of the calf, side, even the shin bone, no big deal compared to the back. Or probably right here on my ribs, kind of stomach side rib area, was just tooth and nail the whole time pretty much for me. What do
I'm
you
pretty
say?
under tattooed for most artists, but so far I think my most painful has really been my sternum. That really. Most of my chest was okay. I didn't mind, the meaty area. Even getting close to the nipple wasn't that bad. But you get down to that center, at the bottom of it, where your ribs kind of come together there. That I just could not sink my back through the massage table any lower. I could not get away from that needle, and it was the worst. And yeah.
Me, two places: lower kidneys, lower back over the kidneys. Or actually, the kidneys are up here, that lower back area below the
More
rib
love
cage.
handle area.
Right there.
Yeah, right in the ditch.
The collarbone wasn't too much fun. I didn't find the sternum that bad, but I didn't go down that far.
I had my ditch done before I had my sternum, and I thought that was easier than my sternum. My hand wasn't a fun one either. I did not like my hand around the outside edges of it. But
that's definitely worse around the outside.
Yeah.
Like when you get over kind of the karate chop side,
Yep.
yeah, it gets
It's not a finished
puckering.
piece yet.
The hole just fucking sucks the chair up into it.
The artist who was working on this one was really trying hard to do a good saturation job, so he's taking his time. And man, it was hard for me to look at him as my friend while he was doing that. I was like, just get it done, guy. I don't even care if it looks good anymore.
Right.
I just want it to be done.
And that,
It's not.
Yeah, and it's not, so fuck me. And that's kind of answers the second part. There is, everybody kind of has their own tolerance, their own comfortable spots and their uncomfortable spots. And, it comes down to like some people are really ticklish, some people aren't. I think, to me, that's a lot of reason why the ribs hurt so bad. Well, a lot of people are ticklish on the ribs. It means there's a lot of nerve endings. It's very sensitive there. So, of course, it's going to be more sensitive. It's going to hurt more. It's going to be more exquisite there. Outer forearms, stuff like that, even outer biceps, shoulders, they're just they're always getting sense. They're always touching stuff. They're just always, so I think in a way your body might kind of tone that down because it's just expecting that kind of stuff. But when you get into those little delicate areas that aren't used to really a whole lot of contact, and those areas tend to, like your butt hat is usually pretty fucking awful. I don't have my ass done, but it's crazy the reaction you get. Versus even like a back or an upper thigh when you get onto their ass. It's fucking painful. So some people are sensitive in some places that other people aren't. So you could ask 10 different people what was the worst spot, and you're probably going to come up with damn near 10 different answers. Partially because only some people have only tattoos in certain spots. Other people might have from head to toe done, so they know all the ins and outs. So they might have a spot that you would never even think to get done. So, general rule, outer arms and stuff, other than up in your armpit and your inner arm, usually falls around a 5 in the 10 scale. Because I ask people from time to time, when you get into those more tender spots, it creeps up to 6 or 7, maybe even 8, depending on what you're doing. And then your back can range anywhere from damn near 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a big area. You've got all these nooks and crannies in different areas. And
nerves are doing all sorts of weird things.
Yeah.
Real heavy up and down your spine. Generally, sometimes across the lower back, but not, or heavier. But
well, and that's the thing too.
Not everybody's different.
Yeah, your nerves aren't laid out in a perfect grid pattern all over your body. It's like they're like branches of a tree. So just like branches of a tree and pull out of the ground, they're not perfectly uniform around. There's clusters and there's there's kind of spots where it didn't really grow a whole lot there. Your nerves are exactly the same. So from one square inch to the next can be a big difference. But at the same time, you could do a big area somewhere and it be relatively pain-free or at least tolerable. So it's a hard question.
That, and it varies from artist to artist. And a lot of us have like one by one person, one by another person. So like the experience can change vastly by the experience of the person that's doing
Very true.
The tattoo, and also by their methods. Because
Absolutely.
some methods hurt a little bit more than other methods. Just basically because of the style of the tattoo. If it's big or bold, or if it's really light and very black and gray and
Absolutely.
very detailed,
Yes,
it's going to
yeah.
feel differently. Or if you're doing things like just with a shader that's, you
Yep.
know,
If a tattoo requires a lot of really heavy saturation, there's different ways to get heavy saturation. There's ways that, in my opinion, are less painful or cause less trauma, and they work for me well. So I try to use those whenever I can, because less trauma for the client. They're going to like me even more, and hopefully they're going to come back and I get to tattoo them again. Some artists, they have a technique that works for them, and in their mind, maybe that's a quicker and better way to get it done. And even though it causes a little more discomfort to them, they get better results in the long run. So, hey, buddy, you came to me to get my best work. That's how I do it. So you just suck it up.
Yep.
And it does make a big difference. Like, I'll tattoo a portrait on someone, which is a lot of times very light. A lot of times they have some heavy saturation, but overall, you're not doing that lining work, which a lot of times is like, whoa, for a lot of people. First off, because you're just kind of starting to get used to it, and second of all, it's all that ouch pointed just in this tiny little thing, rather than it kind of spread out into a brush. So doing a portrait is way more comfortable a lot of times than doing a heavy saturated color piece where you might be going over the same saturated area 5-6 times, putting in different little tones and stuff. So. Very, very, very true on that. Not only the person hammering it into you, but the style of what you're getting and stuff can, it's all, eat a good meal, get a good sleep, don't come in fucking hungover, hopefully you're in a good mood, that makes a big difference, and hopefully you can relax. If watching a movie on your iPad or your phone, putting on some headphones helps you fucking chill, do that.
bring along a supportive friend.
Yeah, bring along a friend that you can just chit-chat with. Time will fly right by.
Yep.
Depending on what kind of mood I am, I'll talk too much or I won't talk at all. Who knows? Pretty much just the pain is so momentary compared to the life of the tattoo that the longer you're going to have it, that, suck it up.
And in case you didn't know already, this is brought to you in part by Death Before Decaf. It's what you need.
It's good. It's good.
And this week we're drinking the Dude,
The
which,
Dude.
which has a black Russian, or is it white Russian?
White Russian.
Whoa!
The only difference is the Kahlua.
What's with all the color?
And there is Kahlua. I think that was part of the
Kahlua.
the process for making the flavors. That's the main flavor with it, is that kind of Kahlua.
Yeah.
flavor.
Based on that movie
Creamy
that everybody calls the
deliciousness.
Dude movie, which
Yeah, we can't mention. I don't
isn't
know.
really the Dude movie.
It's the Big Lebowski.
Exactly.
Whether I don't know.
Which made me fall in love with bowling again.
Oh man, yeah, it's weird how like a lot of the movies I love are about bowling and golf. I've done both, but I'm not. I could take them or leave them. No offense to bowlers and golfers. I watch both on TV, but I don't go out and do it really. And I love the movies about the shit.
Yeah.
And somehow it's entertaining. I don't get it. Even the dodgeball. That was fun.
Yeah.
Dodgeball. I haven't played dodgeball in a long time.
They don't
Movie?
even do it in
Really good.
grade schools anymore.
Well, that you can get hurt.
Yeah,
DaVo.
I know.
You don't want kids getting
Might
hurt.
be disappointed.
You don't want kids to know they can feel pain, really. Then they go through their lives, scared
Yeah.
that they're going to feel pain again. So you gotta protect them, keep them out of harm's way, make sure they're never upset or really told no,
Okay.
because that can hurt them internally.
Yeah.
And then again, then they'll know they can be hurt internally. Then what? They're going to curl up in a ball and be scared of everything. Got to protect these little
Kids, you
things.
learn by failure.
That's true.
That's one
Get
of the
out there and
truest
fuck
statements.
up. That's the best teacher out there.
That, and if you're the smartest person in the room, you're really in the wrong room. Okay. I guess I'll give my 2 cents on this.
Yeah.
I decided it was $20.
Whoa.
When it comes to piercings, usually I'd say the most painful piercing I personally have gotten is by far my nipples. They hurt like bloody murder.
That was
Second was probably the Prince Albert. Everything else is just a momentary minute pain.
Yeah.
Cartilage was not very comfortable and tends to be grumpier longer than anything else.
Just because it's such a slower growing
It's
tissue?
just slower. It's not as much blood flow, and it's
Yeah.
on that.
stiff
People
and
don't
crunchy.
really consider it how much contact that part of your ear has with telephones, bedding, pillows,
Hats, glasses,
glasses,
sleeping. Yeah.
somebody smacking you upside the head.
Right.
It's one of
For
those.
some of us, that's daily.
Yeah, one of those. It's one of those piercings that gets knocked around a lot. But a lot of it comes down. You were talking about the ticklish thing. Is I've had clients where we're doing something very simple, and I start swabbing off the area, and they'll start giggling, and I know I'm in for work because some people are just sensitive in certain areas.
Yeah.
Generally, with tattooing, when people ask me, I always say, my standard reply has always been, the more muscular the area is, the further away it is from the joint, and the more sunlight that area would normally get, probably is going to be less painful than the areas that do. If that makes sense. Then there's areas like the top, like the ankle, that was not great, but it was quick. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're talking about tattoos.
Yeah, tattoo-wise.
Okay.
Piercing-wise,
Is that fair kind of thought
Because
process
an ankle
behind it?
tattoo would probably hurt pretty fucking bad.
yeah, it does. It doesn't feel great.
No. Like the Achilles. What do they call
Right.
that when you go through behind the Achilles? Is there a name for that?
Oh, the Achilles piercing, that
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
I've seen
seen
a
it.
few pictures, and I ran it. Okay, quick little side
Let's-
track.
Yeah, that makes me.
If you want to include it or not, yeah, it's scarring. This is like it reminds me of the days like back with BangedUp.com, where BangedUp.com, if you don't remember, it was kind of at the new dawn of internet where people were just kind of seeing what you could get away with. So it was this site that included everything from like hardcore sex pics to like brutal murder pics,
Yeah.
and it was all together in one. And
Yeah.
all you did was click next. And it was either like a beautiful pair of tits, or it was like someone getting their head sawn off for real. And so yeah, this was about like that. So
That's
anyway,
where I first saw two girls in a cup.
right. So if that gives you any idea, don't Google
Nope.
that.
Don't.
And if you do, it's not our fault. So
People don't do that anymore for their friends.
yeah. Well, anyway, so I was in Chicago
shock value.
earlier back in my career, probably early early 90s, and I go into this little shop. It's a really cool, kind of eclectic shop, and a guy did piercing out of it. And I'm flipping through this really cool leather-bound portfolio and stuff, and he's got some pretty outrageous things in there,
Yeah.
different stuff and really big gauged things. And I flip the page, and no shit, I'm lying up, I'm dying. If the kids still say that. No? Anyway, there was a guy, and behind his Achilles,
Yeah.
that little dead
It's been
space,
done.
it was pierced and gauged to at least...
Oh God!
Oh, that was the worst
Yeah.
part. It was gauged to probably
Pretty
a
much
half
tunnel in there.
Yeah, it's about a half
to
minute.
3/4 inch.
I've seen
enough,
2 or 3 of those. One of them in England.
enough
and
to
then
where
that one.
this guy, because he was a long-term client of this man, he would hang from them.
Yeah.
Like a bat.
Do suspensions. Yeah.
He would hang from these hooks through the back of his... See what I mean about the banged up? You can't unsee that shit?
And see, the
Owie!
thing that most people don't understand is there's a level of whether or not that completely heals or not.
And it was, yeah, and there was no
And-
jewelry in it, and it looked angry.
Yeah, and yeah, it messes. It's going to eventually mess with how you can walk because you're putting pressure on part of your body that you're not supposed to.
And that is a tendon connected to a bone via tissue, and there's nothing that says that tissue has to be connected to that bone,
No,
because tissue gets ripped from bone all the fucking time.
in fact, that was one of the medieval. What most people don't understand about medieval torture is that most of it was designed to impair the person,
Right.
so that they could not work again. That's why they did things with the fingers and the hands in the joints.
Yeah.
And once
Make you
that
useless.
Achilles heel, now they could probably maybe repair it. Back then, no, nope.
Even if you could, you're still gonna walk like.
But see, that opens a whole nother ethical nightmare of because I mean,
What in 20 years that guy comes back a cripple and is like, hey
Yeah.
man, you did this to me.
and actually, there's somebody that's been charged with grievous bodily harm, GBH. I can't remember his real name, but he goes by Dr. Evil for splitting a person's tongue, completely removing somebody's ear and a nipple. He got charged with not with practicing medicine without a license,
Really?
but grievous bodily harm. He's going to go to prison. And it just happened like a couple weeks ago.
So the person decided that they didn't like that and they sued him?
No, what happened was he's been doing these. He's also he's done implants. He's been around for a long time. He studied under Sean at HTC,
I know
so
Sean,
he has
yeah.
that
Heard from Sean.
background. I used to do business with him. I'm wearing
Yeah.
HTC jewelry now.
Oh
actually.
yeah, I love it.
because they last forever.
That's so awesome stuff.
And I guess it all just sits in a room now because that doesn't interest him anymore. Like
Right.
the tarps over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a whole machine.
Please
shop.
start making jewelry again,
No
Sean.
shit.
I love
Ah,
your
it was
jewelry.
beautiful. Oh, and I finally realized you were fucking with me when that guy was in there shaking his head and it sounded like he had nuts loose in his head. He was rattling his tongue ring on his teeth. But I was fucked up for a while. He's like, yeah, I got a plate in my head, but a couple of the screws came loose and it's under the plate, which makes no sense. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and when he does it, he rattles his fucking tongue. And I'm like, I mean, I was working in a shop, but like my first shop, so I was 22 or something, you know. I was fucked up, dude. But after I figured that out, I fucked up a lot of people with that shit. So anyway,
and maybe we should explain. There are extreme elements of body modification.
Yeah.
Most practitioners, you can't walk into an average shop and have somebody that actually knows how to do it. And if it's a street shop where like they do piercings for $25 and tattoos start at $40, they definitely do not know what they're talking about. There's only a handful of people in the United States that I would trust to do any form of implant, under the skin, etc. Probably the most common thing that came out of it was the dermal implants, and I don't do that, and that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, it's...
There is probably
surgery.
this handful of people have done things like implant coral and silicone and metal under the skin. That's where you get these horns, and the guy that had the mohawk that was on every single cover of every single tattoo magazine think in the 90s.
Yeah.
Basically what happened is he posted it to social media, this guy that had his ear removed, and the prosecutor went after him. It wasn't a complaint. It wasn't anything else. And this has been going through the court system for a while now in England.
Wow.
And it got to the last court of appeal or whatever it's called. I'm not that familiar with the English judicial system.
Yeah.
The Old Bailey, whatever the hell. Basically got to that point, and he was trying to get the charge removed by saying that because the person consented to it, that it was a consenting act.
Freedom of choice.
And they decided that no, because you've gone beyond your capabilities and your training, you're not a legal medical professional, you don't have medical training, so you shouldn't have done that. And it also in the statement they also mentioned about the possibility of the mental health issues that this person may have, and how you're not a psychiatrist. And that kind
so now
of
we have to be a psychiatrist.
That kind of digs into that whole amputee thing and everything else, and nullification. Well, and that's like a whole can of worms that I don't particularly want to open.
That's a prosecutor that is just looking for a fight, you know. That's just, I disagree with that, so I'm going to go after the guy legally. I don't think that's cool. I mean, if for some reason the guy who got his ear cut off and his tongue chopped and whatever the hell, if for some reason he wanted to go after the guy, I could understand that more than just some guy who has nothing to do with it, there's two men over here doing what they choose to do, and now he's got to get involved and make a big stink about it.
And as I've always said, I don't have a problem with people doing that as long as they are knowledgeable about what they're doing.
Yeah.
The person that's actually doing it is knowledgeable about what it's going to entail and consents to it. But it also, the person that's doing it needs to have that skill level. Like Steve, he has his family has a background and gets out into the public domain. There's like a level of responsibility that when you share these pictures and items of whether or not you are accountable for the guy in Boondocks, USA that decides that he's going to take out a butcher's knife and carve off somebody's ear. And that's what they're trying to protect the public from.
Well, they're trying to protect the public from themselves, which is pretty stupid because natural selection is real and it needs to be more fully implemented in our society. So we need to stop protecting people that choose to want to die.
And then, and part of
remove some warning labels.
If they want to jump off a bridge with dental floss around their cock, let them.
Let's remove some warning labels and maybe bring back a little bit of bullying.
I know it sounds harsh, but man, this, just...
because we are in that kind of limbo between...
You know you're all thinking it.
Yeah.
One of you.
Don't lie.
We're kind of in that limbo because we're not technically medical professionals.
Yeah, but we're regulated.
We are regulated, and we uphold... Well, you guys are regulated. Piercing isn't in the state of Iowa.
Right.
But we uphold a level of ethics and et cetera
Yeah.
of what we won't and won't do, will do and won't do.
Right.
And
It's
it's
definitely
kind of this weird balancing area that we're kind of in this limbo between being a medical, we're kind of a, it's like for
Yeah.
the same reason, if you have an infection, I can't technically tell you not to go see a doctor. I should.
Yeah.
I should say things like, here's an idea if this doesn't clear up in a day or two, go see your doctor.
Right. Yeah, that's...
On that note, I think it's just important to shout out. I'm sure there is an episode we've already covered. If not, we will. About making sure you do your research on checking your artists, because there are some artists that aren't really up to code on some of these things or ethics or whatever, and there are artists who take it above and beyond and really want to know everything there is to know about being clean and having a good, almost medical procedure of their tattoo. They keep it very professional. So it's kind of on you to do a little bit of research and check your artists to make sure that they are somebody who knows what they're doing.
And by law, everyone is required in Iowa
we meet a certain standard
to be trained in cross-contamination and things like that. But that doesn't mean they're always implemented. And longevity in the business is a good thing to look for. If they've been around for a while, that probably means that they're doing a pretty good job, and they're kind of a proven deal. So,
And
but
it's
just
my
use your head,
experience of visiting other shops, being around the industry,
Right.
is usually when those things start slipping, the cross-contamination prevention and the sterilization, is when the money starts drying up. It's the second or third thing in the budget that goes.
Right.
It's going to go before the lights are turned off, and it's going to go before the water's turned off.
Right.
So if you walk into a shop and it's really, really slow, and it seems like it's always slow, there might be some considerations
And
may
you can
want to
hear
take.
an Xbox in the background.
Yeah, and you can hear Call of Duty.
Right. But anyway.
Because we're kind of balancing between trying to have a budget, but at the same time, we don't have the budget of a medical clinic. Because we're not getting paid 5 times
If we want
what
that,
we're
we're
supposed
going to
to
have to charge you what the hospital charges
Exactly.
your insurance company. And then I wouldn't be driving what I'm driving.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
we went down a rabbit hole there. Sorry.
Yeah,
about that,
yeah,
guys. But
you know,
I think
you guys are getting some very informative episodes.
this is
these
like
past
choose your own
weeks.
adventure Q&A.
choose
Our
your
episodes are getting
own
more
weird
exciting.
topic.
This is the only books I could get through because it took you like 15 minutes.
Our episodes are getting more exting, so if you
Yeah.
don't know that, go
Lot
back
more
and watch
wacky.
the old ones.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
haven't yet.
you'll think this is gold.
Yeah.
As sad as that might be.
Give us a subscription. You'll watch. They're getting better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of what, so we've done that one. We started out with
we have.
pain and then went to the most painful.
Right.
Because that's another thing they brought up. They brought up that it wasn't done under any form of anesthetic or anesthesia and blah, blah, blah.
I think if someone wants to chop off their body parts, fucking let them.
Yeah.
I mean, people have been chopping off their, knuckle in their fingers and
I think
binding themselves.
there should be a waiting period. If somebody came into me, if I was doing those procedures and they came in, I'd be like, come back to me in a month.
Well, okay, yeah. So you
Yeah.
implementing your own waiting period on your own services is completely understable. I would hate to see any
Because
kind of legislative.
there's been bad experiences in my life where I'm like,
Bullshit.
I just want to remove that part of my anatomy right now.
Yeah.
But that passed pretty quickly.
Right.
But you've got, there's that impulse level
I
of...
thought about that lady that bleached her own fucking eyeballs out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she had her eyeballs removed because she just wanted to be blind.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, go for it. I don't care. It's one less person that's gonna get in my fucking way when I'm driving.
That's one way of looking at it.
Fucking half glass full, man.
Okay. So I think we've beaten that one to death.
Yeah, well.
If you enjoyed this, which you probably
Started with
did,
pain and ended with road rage.
aren't they one and the same?
Yeah.
And that's
Oh, boy.
another thing is going through the process of getting tattooed or pierced sometimes helps with that road rage. It helps with that build up pent up aggression.
Oh,
Yep.
definitely. It makes you
Without a doubt.
realize really other things aren't that bad.
Yeah.
And it makes you question yourself because you're sitting there going, I chose this? I chose to do this to myself?
I yell at myself when I tattoo myself for the same reason.
Why would I
am I doing
do
this?
Am I a masochist?
Why do I think I deserve this? I'm kidding, of course.
And then you get done, look at it, and go, "Oh my God, it's so cool."
Right. And you're like, when can I get
That's
in?
why I was going through
When
all
can I get in
that.
again?
Doesn't mean I'm some kind of weirdo.
No. Well,
It might be, depending on what the.
that might not mean you're not a weirdo, but that doesn't mean you're not a weirdo. Just because that doesn't mean you're a weirdo.
Yeah,
You
not
follow me.
necessarily. You never know. So if you like this, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and we do post these every other Sunday. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Sunday.
Until then, be good, be nice, and we hope to see you for your piercing and tattooing needs.
Don't pick at your tattoos if it's kind of scabby. That's a bad deal. Don't do that. Sorry.
Needs in the future, and stop poking it.
Yeah, don't fuck with it. Stop fucking
poking
with
it.
Just, are you fucking with it? Well, a little. Don't.
So I always think about that Simpsons. There's like a Simpsons episode.
Yeah, where he gets tattooed.
Where Bart gets tattooed, and they're sitting in the back saying, "Stop it! Stop touching me! Stop touching me!"
He goes, ouch, quit it. Ouch, quit it. Ouch, quit it. Ouch, quit it. Just over and over and over again. And he gets stopped. It's supposed to say mother, but somebody stops him and it just ends up saying moth. Oh, classic Simpsons. Anyways.
Okay.
See you next time.